What's going on, you guys? My name is Lev. I'm the co-founder of the Elements Real Estate Group. Welcome back to our channel. And today we have a super special guest. She's an influencer. She's from Canada. She lives in Tulum. And this is Mari. She's going to be asking me a lot of questions about investing, getting into the market. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the advantages? And we're going to go through everything. So I hope you guys are ready. If you are in the market, make sure you click on the buyer's guide below. This buyer's guide will get you in touch with us and somebody from my team to get you started on the investing process. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Hi everyone, my name is Mari and I've been traveling back and forth for 3.5 years now. As you guys already know, I've covered a lot about the real estate topic that's really hot right now in the market in Tulum, and today I have the honor to be sitting with Lev, which is the founder of Elements Real Estate Group, and I'm very excited to be picking his brains to understand a little bit better the real estate market in Tulum and ask all the questions that I have for him. If ever you guys have any questions, make sure you click in the link in the description box below for one-on-one support. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. So Lev, can you tell me a bit more about the real estate market in Tulum and what I should know as an investor here?
Sure. I've been here for 11 years now, and it's changed drastically. When I used to come here 11 years ago, the main roads weren't even paved, and I used to take it with my wife on a scooter, and we'd go camping on the beach. There's maybe 5 or 6 buildings that were built. Fast forward 11 years later, it is a completely different world. The market's evolved drastically. There's a lot of infrastructure projects that have happened here to boost everything. And with that comes challenges. It's not a perfect market, it's not a perfect world, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
And Lev, I know you are a Montrealer as
am.
well. Just like me, and I'm pretty sure if you're watching this and you're Canadian or an American, you know that the market is a little bit different.
Totally.
What would you say to a Canadian or an American investor that is a little bit skeptical, trying investing in Tulum? What do they need to know?
There's lots of things. Number one, you have to work with somebody who's super knowledgeable and has been in the area, somebody that also preferably doesn't have a language barrier. You want to work with the right legal team. We work with a legal team that's probably the best in the state that protects the consumer. You also want to have the right property manager. You want to have the right interior designer. So it's like a recipe. And if you are wanting to have a successful Airbnb, you got to have all those ingredients to have a successful recipe. So that's what I would say.
And in terms of the actual process, like let's just pretend like I don't know nothing about it. And I come to you and I'm like, hey, I have this amount of money, Lev. How can I invest in Tulum? What do I need to know? And we're Riviera Maya more specific.
Sure. We've done business in all of the cities here, from Cancun to Playa del Carmen to Tulum, but Tulum is really the most exciting one right now. And a lot of people are calling us with that exact question. They're saying, okay, I've got 3, 4, 6, $1 million. I want to spend some money in Tulum. I hear it's booming. How do I do it? So I've done over 150 transactions over the last 2 years. With my team, we're close to about 220, 230. So we've seen it all. The first step is to get in touch with us and then let us know, hey, I want to buy something, but I don't know where to buy, what's a good product, what's not, is it safe, can the government take my property, can the cartel take my property? So we'll go over all of those questions on our initial Zoom call, like the discovery call, right? Once we have the discovery call, we will then probably know more or less how much you want to spend and what's the outcome. Is it for investment and cash flow, or is it for retiring? Is it for relocation? A lot of people are moving here right now. And after that, what happens is we have kind of like these steps that we follow with the clients. So then it's property search. We usually typically pick about 5 to 6 properties with the clients, and then they either come down, we look at those properties, or they buy sight unseen, which is fine too. I have multiple clients that have done that. Once you've picked your complex, then you've picked your unit, the first step is a $5,000 reservation fee. This reservation fee is 100% refundable. What it does is it'll block the unit for you for 2 weeks. During that 2-week period, I get you in touch with our legal team, and the legal team will then do the due diligence on the developer. They'll check that there's no debts, liens, they'll check that there's no lawsuits, that the property's in good standing, the permits, everything. Once that's green lighted, then the next step is the down payment. Typically, down payments here are, if it's pre-construction especially, it's 30% down, and then a payment plan, and then about 10% at the end. Once you get the keys after you've made your last 10% deposit, then after that, the closing starts. So we have to wait for the developer to send all of their documents to public registry and all that in order to get the deed and title. And once you have the deed and title, you are the owner of this property. The biggest misconception is a lot of people think you don't own real estate, like you're not on title with your property, but you are. There's two ways to invest here as a Canadian or an American or a foreigner. First one is opening up a Mexican trust, and the second one is opening up a Mexican corporation. Either or has its advantages and disadvantages. We help with all of that and the questions about it. Why should I do a corp or why should I do a Mexican trust? So we'll help with every step of the way. And finally, once you get the keys, you have the deed and title, you hire an interior designer to make it pop, make it like beautiful and stand out. And after that, you hire a property management company to start getting the rentals, to start getting the income. Make sure you work with a good property management company. I have my own. We also work with 5 other ones. So those are kind of the steps. It's a lot. It's not as simple as in Canada where you just say, let's put an offer on that place, you send an offer, it's accepted, a couple of clicks, a couple of emails, now you own the property. It's a little bit different. There's a lot more, I would say, manual steps involved into this. And so far, I would say it's been pretty flawless for our clients. We haven't had any issues where the building's not complete, or we haven't had any issues where there's some major concerns, because we work with developers that are vetted, that have been in the area or have built in Mexico as well. We won't work with a developer that it's his first build and we've never heard of him and anything like that. So we really have the clients back. They're important to us, and we want to make sure that they ultimately tell their friends, and then their friends invest too.
Sounds like you guys have the due diligence pretty locked down. Everything seems to be prepared and ready to protect your customers, and even the property management. Now, I'm curious about the financing part. How do your clients, what tools do they have access to working with you directly as a real estate agency?
Well, that's another thing that we have as a benefit with our company is we're a one-stop shop. We literally have everything covered for the client. So I just closed a transaction for a client from Vancouver. He wanted a beautiful 3-bedroom penthouse, but he only had enough funds for the down payment. So we work with 3 lenders, 2 are in Canada and 1's in the US, that can get financing for clients. It's not, I wouldn't say, an ideal option because it is expensive to borrow money in Mexico. However, it allows you to own something, and then the rental covers the mortgage, so your property appreciates, you're cash flowing as well, and you own it in paradise, so you can go and visit it with your friends and family, which is super important. Typically, the terms are between 20 and 30 years. The rates are between 8 and 11%. No prepayment penalty. I know in Canada that's a huge problem, call it. And it's possible. Is it possible to get financing? Absolutely. I've done multiple transactions with financing, and it is possible, yeah. Most people purchase either cash in hand or through a HELOC, which is a line of credit from your house, or they get a third type of line of credit as well. And then the fourth, I would say, option would be to get financing from Mexico.
And in terms of some of the common hiccups that I would say people go through in their purchasing process, which I know that you guys specialize in helping Americans and Canadians here, what would you say is one of the most common hiccups that people go through, and how do you guys handle it?
I would say the most common hiccup is when somebody buys a property without using a good legal team, and then there's issues with the contract, with the permits, with the deed and title and all that stuff. So that's huge. I can't stress enough how important it is to have somebody look over the paperwork, because if you're thinking, oh, I'll just do it by myself, it's great, good luck, I applaud you for it, but it's complicated. If I'm buying a property in France, I'm gonna get a French lawyer to look over everything. So that would be the first thing. The second thing would be delays. Delays do happen here, especially with pre-construction. They're not severe, like, we've all heard the horror stories of, oh, the properties, I've been waiting 5 years for my property. So most I've seen is about 6-7 months after the delivery date was due. So it happens. Sometimes it rains, sometimes we get hurricanes. Sometimes, the developer just ran out of labor and just needs more labor to finish it. So that's something. However, our legal team would help with the contract and the penalties towards the developer. So if it's delayed, they will make sure that the developer starts paying penalties. And then the last hiccup would be thinking that furnishing the property, that you should furnish it like you would furnish your home, and how you would want to, bring your taste to your property, I recommend don't do that. Furnish a property that the guest will like, not that you will like, because ultimately you're buying this, I would say 90% of our clients, they're buying this in order to attract guests to stay here. So if you're putting like a purple rug and like a red couch, maybe that works in your home, but it's probably not the best idea to do it here. That would be my ultimate hiccup, I would say.
Yeah, there's definitely like a common theme going on in the houses, especially when it comes to interior design and just wanting to make sure that it goes with the actual vibe that people are signing up for to Tulum. What I'm curious about the journey in real estate in the past, the present, and the future. What do you foresee when it comes to Tulum's investment in real estate?
I don't think we have enough time to talk about it, but I will talk about it right now. Tulum is going to be the Mecca of the Americas. Yes, right now it's growing. There's a lot of, I would say, challenges with roads and with efficiency and things like that, but it's normal. Every emerging market has these types of challenges and hiccups. An airport was built here in March of 2024 with direct flights coming from every major city in the US, major cities in Canada, Europe, South America, and the current capacity is 6 million people. Over the next decade, their plans are to expand it to have 20 million visitors. If you put that into context, Cancun, which is the second busiest airport in the country, gets 32 million. So that's huge. The other thing with Tulum real estate is that it's growing and the rental here is phenomenal because there's not a lot of all-inclusives. In Playa, you're surrounded by all-inclusives. In Cancun, it's all all-inclusive. So here, the guest, their experience is going to be the Airbnb market. So that's also helping a lot of these phenomenal numbers and appreciation and all that. Then you have the Mayan train that opened up. The Mayan train is going to connect the whole southeast of Mexico. So, you know, if you come here for a week, you can spend 3 days in Merida, 2 days in Cancun, and finish your stay in Tulum. So that's a game changer. Top of that, there's 4 luxury malls that have been approved as well to really transform the city into a more, how do I put it, modern city, but still keeping the essence of Tulum. For example, one of those malls is going to be built like in a jungle setting with mangroves and bridges made out of bamboo. So they're doing that. And, you know, Tulum, the biggest thing I would say that's different, I live in Playa and I love Playa, but the biggest differentiator in Tulum is the architecture. The way that these homes look is unprecedented. It's like architects literally are put in a room and they're trying to figure out what's the best, coolest new creation they can do. Because I guarantee you, you cannot find any of this type of real estate in Playa del Carmen or in Cancun or in Cabo or in Vallarta. Those are great destinations, don't get me wrong. But Tulum has a vibe, as you know, it's got an essence and the real estate reflects that tremendously.
It's also moving at such a rapid pace when it comes to even like the roads being paved, like everything is moving at like light speed. So I'm definitely excited to see, you know, the progression of Tulum and seeing how it's going to impact and ripple on the real estate market, but most importantly, even just like as the lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yeah.
People who are investing and planning on traveling back and forth with the airport opening up, the trains, and all these lifestyles.
I was just sitting at a client tour the other day and I heard some people over talking in the pool while the client was checking out the unit. The people were saying, oh man, I can't wait to do a weekend getaway here. Let's come back again in 3 weeks or something, because now a quick flight from Dallas, quick flight from Charlotte, New York, you know, you're literally in paradise within 3 hours or less. So that's this airports transform cities. If you bought in Vegas before it had an airport, if you bought in Austin, Texas, if you bought in Montreal before it had an airport, all of these cities, the real estate was worth a lot less. And then once the airports opened up and it started growing, prices went up, values went up, rental went up, all that. So my motto for clients here, and I use that motto because I'm heavily invested in Tulum, which is another important thing to note, is that buy in the jungle, sell when it's all developed, and you'll be a very happy investor.
What a beautiful way to leave the audience. If you guys resonate with Lav's, you know, philosophy and values and way of doing things, make sure you click in the link in the description box below to book that consultation. You know, there's no pressure. You sit down, you ask all the questions you have, and we look forward to supporting you.
One thing I wanted to mention, we are currently sitting in Casa Missouri, which is one of my clients' villas. The link, if we can put it in the bottom of the description, that would be great too. It's a 4-bedroom villa in the heart of the Tulum jungle. Got a ton of bookings already, so just want to give a shout out to the owner of the villa.
Yeah, I give my stamp of approval. I walked around and it's very well furnished and it just has really good energy. So if you guys are looking for a place to stay, this is definitely a good spot. Is there anything you want to leave our audience with?
No, I just want to say maybe, there's never a right time to buy real estate. There's never a right time to get in the market, but it's always yesterday. So if you're thinking about it, but you don't know how to do it, what to buy, who to work with, we're here and we're ready to rock and roll with you. So
Thank you so much.
my pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.